You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. And be sure to smash that like button. LSU practiced today primarily outdoors, as a matter of fact. Brian Kelly is sort of, as he said, climatizing the team. So they start indoors and then they move outdoors. And gradually they're increasing the amount of time that they're spending outdoors, decreasing the amount of time they're spending in the indoor. And we were out there today, the 10th practice of fall camp, the 8th media availability that we've seen. This was the second of 6 consecutive days for LSU. And my contention has been, and I shared it with you yesterday, as far as this defense goes, the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. If you line up every LSU player on offense, every LSU player on defense, 1-for-1, the offense is going to win because they got more talent. But when the defense as a whole has been out there, they've been quite good. Not good by their standard, good. Today in the 11-on-11 period, Tuesday in the 11-on-11 period, it was an inside of 2-minute type drive, and they forced a 55-yard field goal attempt from Damian Ramos that he had plenty of leg on and missed to the left, so they got to stop. Now, can you get a dozen stops in a game or 8 stops in a game? I don't know. That remains to be seen. But we are seeing them have success. And it was interesting because Whit, who I think a lot of LSU fans are very excited about, I think one of the pretty consistent criticisms that I heard from fans a year ago was, why wasn't 40 playing more? When he was on the field, your defense seemed to play better. He's obviously a very talented young guy. And it's very clear he's going to play a lot now. And they got a lot of different looks and formations. But Whit met with reporters on Tuesday after practice, and he talked specifically about about those linebackers and how in Blake Baker's defense they're being more productive now than they were a year ago or ever.
You know, we get to fly around now. We get to play fast, a lot faster than we've been able to play. So now that we can play fast, we're making way more plays than we've ever made, I feel like. And then just blitzing is, that's what you want to do playing linebacker. You want to be aggressive and go get sacks on the quarterback, so your stats will look a lot better.
He's not wrong. Told you the 11-on-11. We've seen Harold Perkins come up with a sack with a TFL. Last week in the 11-on-11, saw Whit come up with a sack after a 9-yard gain on first down to Mason Taylor. I mean, we're seeing this defense be fast and physical and aggressive because they've simplified things. He also talked about what for him was exciting about playing in this defense.
The thing that I'm definitely most excited about is how aggressive we are this year. We blitz a lot more than last year, and also just the energy that Coach Baker brings in every meeting we go to. There's never a dull moment in this building because he's here now.
I mean, I don't want to, dance on Matt House's grave. I'm not, it's this old saying, you don't want to speak ill of the dead. Matt House is very much alive, but I think you understand the expression. And I think sometimes it's easy to criticize because the guy's no longer here. But listen to that player. Can you play that again? Put through the context of a guy that was here last year when they were terrible. And you have a new defensive coordinator now, and how different. Just listen to that again with context.
The thing that I'm definitely most excited about is how aggressive we are this year. We blitz a lot more than last year, and also just the energy that Coach Baker brings in every meeting we go to. There's never a dull moment in this building because he's here now.
There's never a dull moment. The energy. This is the guy we told you the other day on the incomplete pass. The ball went into his hands. He dropped it. He dropped and did push-ups, and the whole defense is going crazy. Today, I told you about that 11-on-11 period. 11-on-11 today, the defense forces a 55-yard field goal attempt from Damian Ramos. All of the defensive players, so offense is on one sideline, defense is on the other, all of the defensive players are yelling and clapping their hands trying to distract the kicker. There's only 50 guys. It's not 50,000. It's 50 guys. And they're yelling. They're into it. It is different. I'm not telling you that's going to make them awesome on defense, but he's right. You can tell the energy is different. It's invigorating. That doesn't mean they're going to be great because everybody's energetic, but sometimes you can maximize players when there's more buy-in. There's more buy-in here. That much is very, very evident. I was also interested because they asked Whit Weeks about the corners, and he brought up Ashton Stamps.
Definitely. I mean, he's definitely cornerback one in my eyes. I mean, he's made some spectacular plays this camp. Which, I mean, you look at it and you're like, going into USC, you're like, that's the dude that I want out there on the field.
I'm glad he brought up Stamps. And Stamps was a guy who played a year ago a lot as a freshman, and he took his lumps. And after the season, Ashton Stamps talked about how he was playing basically on one leg. And that could have seemed like a cop-out. I don't know. I don't know. I cannot tell you I know Ashton Stamps or have had deep conversations or anything like that. But I have no reason not to believe him. They were in a bad way last year all the way around. But you saw at times flashes. He was a young guy who got a lot of experience. So the question was, how could he develop from year to year? And Whit Weeks said Stamps he's made plays, and he has. I've charted 2 interceptions of Ashton Stamps of Garrett Nussmeier in team periods. One was the first day when they were running 7-on-7. Nuss was throwing deep left corner for Mason Taylor. Stamps undercut the route, got a pick. Another was a 2-minute drill where Nuss led the team right down the field. They get in a goal-to-go situation, and Stamps jumped a route and intercepted it right at the goal line. I mean, Stamps has played very well in this fall camp, and I agree that I think he is their CB1. And I'm most interested that if Zy Alexander comes back healthy, does Zy Alexander play corner again? Because if you have Zy Alexander, Ashton Stamps, and those are your best corners, then you can move Sage Ryan back to safety, which I think is his natural position. And I think Sage Ryan's a better option at safety than Jordan Allen. So that might be your best look at defense if you can get there. Now, for what it's worth, Stamps spoke with the media on Monday, and he kind of talked about his freshman year and playing as a freshman and how that helped him.
4 starts is actually, like, in the SEC, that's a lot of games, like 4 starts. So most of them, majority of them was SEC games, so just being able to feel that presence, feel the atmosphere, seeing how fast the game go is like, you know, the second year should be way easier for me. Like, I got a lot of confidence going into this season, like, different from last year, but it's not about last year, it's just about this year and focusing on the next couple of practices to get us ready for the season.
The other part, just like Whit Weeks was talking about learning under Blake Baker, now Ashton Stamps is learning under Corey Raymond. I think this is relevant because, and we got to talk, look, I mean, all the defensive linemen, when we talk to them, it's talking about Bo Davis, and then you've got, and quite honestly, Jake Olson working with the safeties has been pretty impressive. When I'd spent a lot of time watching the defensive backs today. Watching Jake Olson work with the safeties is interesting. But here was Stamps on what he's learned from Corey Raymond.
Corey Raymond, he's attention to detail with every little thing, like just 1 inch. Like, if I mess up on 1 inch of a step, he's, even if I get a good play, I might get an interception. He's gonna make it seem like it's the worst play ever, But that's what I like about him. He pushes you hard no matter what.
You know the other 2 guys that are like that? Bo Davis and Brad Davis. I was talking to Hunt today when they were doing the offensive defensive line drills. Like, and Hunt said something to the effect of he's like, it doesn't matter what the play is. Bo Davis and Brad Davis think every rep is the worst rep they've ever seen. And it's interesting because you do have that dynamic of, like, when do you tear him down, when do you lift him up, and that's when coaches are really good, when they know how to balance that. And Corey Raymond's the same way. And one more, because Ashton Stamps talked about, how you heard him say, even if I get an interception, if I had one step the wrong way, he's going to make you feel like it was the worst rep ever. He kind of gave an example of how Corey Raymond coaches the little things.
So, for example, the play might go to the opposite side of the field, and, I might get beat deep on the go route, but they don't throw it. The quarterback don't see it. So he's like, what if the quarterback does throw it? Like, that's a touchdown. Like, that's not good. So it's just little things like that. That really helped me. That's really helped me going into the season because, you just got to be perfect with everything. Like, everything, you're not going to be perfect, but their mindset is to be perfect.
Man, they're maturing. It's hard not to like what you see from the defense. And every time I say that, and I get it. Like, I know one of two things are likely to happen. Either you're going to hear that and Scone said they're going to be awesome. No. Or it's Scone's a homer. You know that I'm not that either. But it is encouraging. Like, it was so... Y'all know this. Y'all watched every game like I did. It was awful. It was so hard to watch last year. I mean, to the point where when it's... To the point where you're that bad, it's comical. Like, you're watching the game and you're making jokes about it. Like, we were at Don Juan... The week they brought Pete Jenkins back was the Missouri game after the Ole Miss debacle. We're at Don Juan, me and T-Bob, for whiskey and wine. And they're in the second. Every time, it could have been the most routine run stop. The whole bar is going, Pete, Pete, Pete. They're chanting Pete Jenkins. The whole bar is chanting Pete Jenkins. And Pete Jenkins is awesome. That's not the point. The point is, like, people were making jokes about how bad they were. This is different. I don't know how good they're going to be, but it is different. It's different. I've seen them 10 times now. It's different. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.